Amazon's plastic packaging, which features the chasing arrows recycling symbol and the word store drop-off, is often not recycled. An investigation by Environment America and U.S. Public Interest Research Group, USPIRG, suggests that only a small fraction of Amazon's plastic packaging makes it to a material recovery facility, which sorts glass, metal, plastic, and other items for recycling. The packaging is much more likely to end up in a landfill, incinerator, export terminal, or in the hands of a company that downcycles plastic film into things like benches. The report adds to a growing body of evidence suggesting that store drop-off programs are an ineffective solution to the escalating plastic pollution crisis. Environmental groups argue that these programs help justify the ongoing production of single-use plastic, helping manufacturers and retailers evade accountability while alleviating consumer guilt. The report found that about half of the bundles, which included supermarkets like Safeway, Sprouts, Publix, Fred Meyer, QFC, and Whole Foods, were likely to be buried or burned before reaching a final destination. Of those that survived, 13 went to a landfill, 2 went to a waste incinerator, and 3 went to the Port of Los Angeles, suggesting that the bundles were destined for processing or disposal overseas. Only 4 trackers eventually made their way to a material recovery facility that sorts plastics for recycling. U.S. PIRG and Environment America were able to contact 3 of those facilities. 2 specifically said they do not accept Amazon packaging, and the third said it accepts only paper and cardboard. 24 trackers ended up in the hands of Trex, a company that makes benches and decking out of discarded plastic. However, U.S. PIRG and Environment America question whether Trex is using Amazon packaging in its products, as the contents of store drop-off bins are often littered with food and beverages, making this plastic too contaminated for manufacturing use. A recent study published in the journal Science shows that the climate cooling benefits of planting trees may be overestimated. Darker forests can warm the earth by reducing the albedo of the land they cover, meaning they absorb more sunlight and reflect less solar radiation back into space. This results in more heat being held by the Earth's surface. Trees also release organic compounds, such as isoprene and monoterpenes, which can react with various oxidants, including the hydroxyl radical that breaks down methane, a greenhouse gas that is roughly 80 times more potent at warming the climate than carbon dioxide over a 20-year period. The reaction with the organic compounds released by forests leads to a reduction in hydroxyl concentrations, decreasing the destruction of methane and increasing the concentrations of the greenhouse gas in the atmosphere. Given methane's potency in warming the climate, even a modest change can have a significant impact on atmospheric warming. Therefore, the climate benefits from planting trees will be greater if methane is also being reduced in the atmosphere through other means. Reforestation has a part to play, but it will be more efficient if we do it while also cutting greenhouse gas emissions and anthropogenic pollution. The compounds that trees emit also react to nitrogen oxides, creating the greenhouse gas ozone, which can warm the atmosphere but can also lead to the production of aerosol particles that reflect solar radiation back into space, creating a cooling effect. The focus should be on not only restoring woods and planting trees, but also preserving current ecosystems and biodiversity. The world is facing a plastic waste crisis, with the world producing about 400 million tons of plastic annually. Only 6% of this waste was recycled last year in the U.S., down from around 9% in 2018, as nations like China stopped taking U.S. plastic. The majority of the waste ends up in landfills, oceans, or spread across the land, polluting coastlines, infiltrating ecosystems, and entering our bodies with unknown health repercussions. The fossil fuel industry has been turning oil and natural gas into plastics in massive, heavily emitting cracker plants. In anticipation of shrinking fossil fuel demand, it is investing $400 billion to expand plastic production, including a $10 billion ExxonMobil Saudi Basic Industries Corporation facility being built a few dozen miles from Padre Island, across Corpus Christi Bay. According to one 2020 study, 1.3 billion metric tons more plastic dumped into our environment by 2040. For years, the people selling that plastic have avoided blame for the ecological mess their products have caused by promoting a largely false set of promises about our ability to recycle plastics and a narrative that dealing with plastic waste was the responsibility of consumers, not producers. Last week, California's Attorney General opened an investigation into fossil fuel and petrochemicals companies, accusing them of perpetuating a decades-long disinformation campaign. This inquiry will likely add to mounting pressure the industry has been experiencing recently. Around the world, 71% of people think single-use plastic products should be banned, and many African nations have outlawed plastic bags in recent years. Los Angeles County blocked restaurants from selling food in plastic containers that can't be composted or recycled last month. It may be too late to undo the damage caused by big oil companies selling plastics on a plastics recycling myth.
Welcome to my channel, like and subscribe.